Leaf just woke up. It's amazing how animals kind of rein in his focus and calm him down. He came running out the door, bounding down the sidewalk, and then he saw the geese, and he stopped, and he dropped, and he's been sitting there for about the past 10 minutes just watching them. And they've been hanging out. Oh, it's time for a swim again. Oh, that's why Pete came out. My mother-in-law's dog came out to say hi. Hey everyone. I know it's been forever since I've seen you, but this summer has been nuts for everyone, I know. But even aside from the coronavirus, it's just been busy. I've been in my garden all the time, and that's where I've wanted to be. Sometimes in past years, I've felt like by July, I'm just over it. I'm over fighting the weeds and the bugs, and it's so hot outside. But this whole summer, late spring and summer, I wake up and the first place I want to go is out in the garden. And I think being here all spring, and putting all my time and energy into it has just made everything flourish, and so it makes me want to be out there more, and it means that there's less bugs and weeds because I've been after them so much. So I've not knit a thing since the last time I talked to you, and I haven't really wanted to, which is, I know, I'm okay. It's kind of crazy, but I'm all right. But I have been doing some spinning because that just feels like something where I can sit down and do just 2 minutes and not feel like I get lost in the pattern or anything like that. So I've been doing a lot of spinning. And oh wait, there's another one. I will go over all of these a little later, but I just wanted to kind of show you some of what I've been up to. Well, actually I can go over them now. Let's see, the first thing I did was, I think this is what I tried out on the new wheel that I have, but maybe not, I can't remember. But this is just a small little bit of merino roving in a beautiful blue, and I just felt like doing a little bit of it. I think I got this from Mars Hey Brown Berry. She also sent me a beautiful roving that she had dyed that was, I think it was just pure wool. And along with that, I applied a bat that I had made that was wool, some Firestar, sparkle, some silk, and some Wensleydale locks. And so it's got some really cool locks and curls and texture in it. And I guess this is almost probably about a DK weight. I wanted something a little chunkier. It's almost 6 ounces, which is really nice. And so I did those two. And then another thing that I did was from, let's see, this is from Och Eir, which is Swedish mill. And this is something that they sent me a while ago. And I don't know that this fiber is actually available from them right now, but they have the most gorgeous fibers to spin with, and I want to get some more of them. Actually, they do fibers. They also have some really beautiful yarns, but the yarn is, what is it called? It's almost like pin drafted, so that you could almost spin the yarn. I can't remember what that is called. But it's really beautiful. So I'll link them in the down bar below so you can see some of their stuff. But this one had some really beautiful pops of color in it. And then the last thing that I spun was from Hobbledehoy, and it was from some of their epic batlings. And I've had these for a long time too. And that's what I got with these. Another one that was really fun. This one I think ended up being about a fingering weight. That tends to be my go-to nowadays, so I really wanted something a little bit bigger. So these two I spun up a little bit bigger on purpose, which was fun because usually I just let the fiber do what it wants to do, and often I get a fingering or a sport weight yarn, but I purposefully wanted something bigger. So this is probably about a DK, and this is closer to DK or worsted. I don't know what I'll do with them. I never know what to do with them. I just kind of pile them up, but at some point I'll find something fun. But it feels good right now to be spinning. That meditation of it feels good. The next thing I wanted to do is I wanted to take these 4 from Bohlayers Orchards. It's 100% Hobbledehoy, which is super squishy and soft. And I thought I would make a gradient out of them. I thought that would look really pretty. So I'll probably split each ball in half and spin it and then ply it and make a 2-ply out of it. And then after that, this is another Hobbledehoy that I have, and this is called Vixen, and it's merino, silk, and bamboo. And I've had this one for a while, but I think it's gorgeous. So that's what I've been up to, fiber-wise. We've had the bear come by a couple times. It's been close also. Once it was walking up the driveway when I was about 30 feet away in the blueberries. And the other day, Leaf and I were walking down our little trail that we have in the woods that goes up to my mother-in-law's. And we heard some commotion going on in our pond, and nothing ever gets in the pond. It's tiny. It's not that we can swim in it or anything. And as I looked through the woods to the pond, I saw the bear running off. So it had been on the path and crossed the pond so it could get away from us, which was kind of scary. Luckily, so far, it's been a really nice bear. Black bears aren't generally aggressive, and it's got lots of food around here. So, okay, I'm going to go spin. I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Spend a lot of time in my pajamas. There's just no reason for me to get dressed up. This is the most dressed up I've gotten in probably the last few months, and that's only because I bought this cute little thing a couple years ago, and it came without buttons on one side, so I couldn't secure it, and I put it in a pile of things I wanted to sew and kind of forgot about it. So I just finished it and thought I'd put it on. But if I'm not leaving the land, there's really no reason for me to get dressed. Even if I'm gardening, I'm always in my pajamas. So I go through my pajamas a lot, and I thought it would be fun to make some. So I've got a bunch of just tannin mordanted cotton that I was going to cut out some pajama bottoms and sew them together and then eco-print on them. And Kaya said she would like a pair too. So this is my favorite pair right now, but as you can see, there's some holes in it. I don't mind so much, except that my husband likes to stick his finger through the hole and tickle my side, and his hands are always cold and it drives me nuts. So I'm making myself some new pajamas so he doesn't have tickle access. Yeah, anyway, and so these are my daughter's, and she wanted a pair too. So I don't use patterns a whole lot, probably just because I'm lazy. I don't want to have to cut them out. So I'm just going to fold these in half with the back piece flattened out, because the back side of pajamas is always a little bigger for your butt side. And then I'll fold them so that the front piece is out, and I'll just cut around so I have 4 pieces, 2 back and 2 front. You'll see. I know this is going to kill some of you who really like to iron things beforehand, but I'm not going to, because I don't care. And I know that some of you might say, oh, you need to cut that along the bias or not. I don't really know what bias is. I've looked it up and I can't remember, and I don't care. I just want a piece of cloth, and it always works out just fine. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just eyeballing about an inch around it all, so I have enough extra in case I screw up, and then I'll probably give maybe 2.5 inches up here, so I have enough to fold it over and sew in an elastic. I guess I could do this on a piece of paper, and then I would always have a pattern. I probably have one somewhere. Honestly, it's taken all my effort just to get this cloth out and make these, because I know I will love the printing process, and I know I will love wearing them, but I just don't like sewing. And I'm not sure why. But I just don't. Maybe it's because I don't do it right. Kaya just came out and told me she wants some pockets. So I've got some larger scraps here, and I'll probably use some of this part here, because I think that'd be a good idea to make 2 big pockets on both sides, because then it makes your pajamas even more usable. And it thickens the area that might have had a tickle hole and will make it harder to have access to tickling the hips. Alright, so here's my little pocket shape. I'm going to cut 8 of these, so I have 4 pieces of fabric for each pair of pajamas, which will go into 2 pockets. So each pocket needs 2 pieces, and I'll have 4 pockets. That was easier to cut out, so I cut this one. The pants are too big. I know. I'm very lazy right now. I just want pajamas. I don't want to put in much effort. So let's see. That scrap will work. That scrap will work.
Ooh.
So, Kaya and I finished our eco-printed pajamas, and they turned out really lovely, as it usually is for me anyway. With cotton, the print isn't as bold or crisp as with silk or wool, and that's just how plant fibers take on color. I moored into this with soy milk and tannins last year sometime, and so we'll see. It's drying right now, and I'm ironing it to really put some heat into it to make sure that the color is set as much as possible before we wash it. But they should be ready tomorrow. I think I'll wash them. So yeah, I love how they turned out. I'm excited to wear them. It's funny, I have one set of sheets that I naturally dyed and eco-printed, and it's my favorite set. It still has the smell of plants in it. It still smells kind of like turmeric, and when you lay down at night, I just feel like I can relax better. So I need to make some more of those. And I know I need to get this podcast out. It's been over a month since I've put a podcast out, and I'm working on it. It's just hard right now. I feel like there are so many big conversations that are being had in our family, in our community, in the world. So many big things going on right now that it's hard to put that into words on the podcast. And I know for some people, podcasting is actually a way of talking out those issues. For me, I talk those things through with friends and family, and then by the time I get to the podcast, I'm like, I don't know where to start. So, I mean, things are big here right now. We are very, very lucky in that our family has not been affected much by the coronavirus. My husband works from home, and his job is considered essential. And he's always worked from home, so he's lucky he hasn't had to change that up a lot. Of course, the kids have been affected. All the college tours we were supposed to take this year so that Kaya could figure out where she wanted to go have been canceled. But, and that's been hard for her because she feels like she just basically has to pull a name out of a hat and be like, okay, that's where I'll go, because it's hard to get a feel for, you know, what a college really is like without actually getting to the campus and meeting some of the people. So we're taking a lot of virtual tours. She had to take her ACTs with a mask and socially distance, and just, it felt weird. You know, it's already a stressful exam to take your college exams. But there is a part of me, and I'm trying to make this be a bigger part, that feels like my life could be easy peasy, just go with the flow and nothing ever changes. Or it could be what's happening right now. It is what's happening right now. And because it is, in a way, I feel lucky that I am a part of this. There are some big movements going on right now for social justice, for environmental justice, for equality, for healthcare. There are some big movements, and I hope that because my voice is a part of those voices for a better world, that this world will become a better place. You know, I mean, and then, you know, I could have lived in a world where there was nothing happening and everything was easy and it was a little paradise. And some people might still feel like they live in that, but I think that is naive to feel like because you are in a bubble that your bubble's always going to be there. The world is changing drastically and quickly right now, and we need to use our privilege, our voices, our actions to make change. So so that's what I've been feeling. That's what we've been talking about. That's how we've been trying to live these days, even though we are mostly isolated at home, making phone calls, sending letters, talking to people, trying to help people understand why this world is a better place if we are in it together, if we are lifting each other up. And that includes non-human people because we are all a part of this planet. We humans couldn't be here without the plants or the animals, without the rocks, without the soil. If we don't also lift up the land and the animals around us, then we all fall. We all fall. So, so that's the way I've been spending my past month. I've been trying to get to know the plants around me a little bit better. I know some of them really well and some I've kind of ignored. And so I've been trying to figure out which ones I can eat, which ones I can grow, getting to know them better, just sitting with them and trying to listen. Yeah, and I want to do that more. I want to try to disconnect my life and business from the consumer wave and figure out how I can still make art and still make medicine and have that be something that counts. I want my things that I create to be a benefit to people. I don't want it to just be something that sits in a closet or that someone can put on a shelf and be like, isn't that pretty? Now I have another one, you know? So these are things I'm thinking of. It's easier to take the time to think of those things now that I have no classes, now that I have no festivals, and that's been a benefit. You know, of course I would have loved to see people, to be able to get myself out there, but it has also caused me to step back and say, why do I make this stuff? Especially, why do I make this stuff in mass? Why do I make 80 sock blanks at a time, or 20 eco-printed silks, or dye a bunch of yarn? I know that people like it, and thank you, I appreciate it, but I also don't want it to just be a thing. I know that the things that I appreciate most are those things that have come from friends who have made them. Okay, so the battery ran out. My long narrative about consumerism and all of that is in the ether somewhere. But I guess what I was saying is, I want to be a part of a society. I want to figure out how to live in my world while not contributing to the things that I feel like are taking down our world. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. I know one of the things that I've been doing in trying to experiment and get some of the things that I've been doing to try to get to know the plants around me. I know a number of them just through, making medicine and growing them, but there's also a number of plants that I have around me that I have kind of ignored or just never gotten to know, and it's been a lot of fun getting to know more of them more. I've been trying to eat more from the land, and not just things that I have grown by hand, but things that are wild growing here. And that's been a lot of fun because I've learned some that I had been really frustrated with before, that I would just be like, oh, what are you, and why are you still in my garden bed? And I'd keep ripping them out. Come to find out, it's actually an edible plant that might have medicinal properties, or maybe is very good with protein content or something. So that's been a lot of fun. I've got 2 books here. One of them, I know I've shown you one of his other books. This one is Incredible Wild Edibles by Samuel Thayer, and he has 3 books on wild edibles. And they're fantastic. It's his own stories and personal stories of experiences with these plants, as well as when to harvest them, where to find them, and how you can use them. And I've really enjoyed that. And then this new one is Forage, Harvest, Feast, a well-inspired cuisine by Marie Viljoen, Viljoen. And she also talks about how to find them, how to harvest them, if you want to grow them, that kind of stuff, along with a lot of recipes. There's some really cool recipes in here. So I've been making things from this book and some of the other wild harvest books. And a couple weeks ago, I took a week where I tried to eat as much as I possibly could from the land. So if I wanted to make a bread and I needed to add some flour, then I'd use some of my all-purpose flour that I have in the house, adding, wild greens or flowers or whatever to it. So I couldn't do 100% from the land, but I did as much as I could, and that was a lot of fun. I came up with some really neat recipes, tried some of the recipes from the books, and felt really good. I was actually overfeeding myself because I would keep wanting to try this and try that. I would ferment milkweed buds and eat a bunch of those while I was then munching on clover or whatever. So I think I may have gained a few pounds because I kept making more things, but it was really tasty, and it made me feel so much more empowered to know that these things are on my property and are available to me. Part of that's just my prepper self, that I feel like if we're going to have a hard time this coming winter, at least I have access to some of these things and I know about some of them. But yeah, I put all of that on Instagram. So you can follow me on Instagram or find me at ninja.chickens, and a period in between the two words. And there's a highlight in my stories that's called Wild Foods, and so I talked all about some of the things that I harvested and the foods that I made. Hey friends, so I was going to get outside and do a little recording for you, but it started raining, which is actually really nice because we were super dry until this week. The weather kept saying, oh, we're going to have at least a quarter of an inch of rain, like every day, and then it would get to that moment when the rain's supposed to start, like at 1 p.m., and it wouldn't start, and I'd look, and it'd be like, oh, it passed us. So I actually... I was telling Mars of Hey Brown Berry, I guess it was Monday? Maybe it was Sunday. I don't know. We were chatting and she was like, it's pouring here. And I was like, would you please tell the rain to come our way? And she said, I went outside and I told it to go your way. And that afternoon we got a half an inch of rain. And then Monday, within a half hour, we got 2.5 inches of rain. It poured and we needed it so badly. So it's raining again outside. Long story short, I'm going to record a little bit in here so I can get this podcast out to you. Kaya and I finished our pajamas. She's got hers right now, but here's mine. It's definitely not as bold as I thought it would be, but I still really like it. They're cozy. They fit really nicely. There's nice hollyhocks on them, and I've got tansy and marigold and butterfly bush. There's a really nice hollyhock. So yeah, I'm gonna wear them tonight. I'm glad we did it. Now we have 2 nice pairs of pajamas, and I might trace this and just put it on some butcher paper or something so I can do it again if I want without having to retrace it every time, because they fit well. And I like the pockets. It was a good idea. Both pairs of pajamas have 2 big pockets in it, so that's good. I also finished spinning my yarn, so I wanted to show you that. Last I showed you was this, and this is what it looks like. Let me show you close up. It really turned out beautifully. So this was the 4 different colors from Bohlayers Orchards, and they're in Troy, Pennsylvania. So it was 4 different shades. It was kind of 2 shades of gray, a brownish, and then a real dark gray. So two light gray, 1 dark gray, and then a brownish. And I just started with the lightest and then went to the next and the next until I got to the dark. And this is all CVM, which is natural colored Hobbledehoy. And it's got a really nice crimp and squishiness to that type of sheep. So this is really nice. It feels really good. And it's probably a fingering weight. I got 638 yards, so yeah, it's definitely fingering weight, out of 4.4 ounces. And I really enjoyed spinning this. I was listening to Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer while I was doing it, and if you haven't read that or heard the book, the author actually reads the book on Audible, which is really nice. I like hearing her voice because she puts the inflection where she meant the inflection to be when she's reading it, you know. It's really just a beautiful book. It's devastating and awful, hearing some of the things that have happened to her, to Native Americans. She's a Potawatomi, and she's also a scientist and ecologist and botanist, and so she really weaves the myths, the origin stories of Native American people in with the science and the connection with plants. And I really, really liked it. I think it's a great thing to listen to, even if you're not really interested in plants or science or whatever. Just beautiful stories. And so, yes, there was some hard things to listen to, but there was also always hope in, well, this is our past, and what can we do now? So I really enjoyed it. But one of the things that got me thinking about is that this fiber came from at least 4 animals, probably more. Those animals were probably at least a year, if not 4, 5, 6 years old. So in this yarn is, you know, many years of growth for these animals, at least 4 animals. The hands that have raised them, the hands of the people who grew the hay that they've eaten, and the grains that they've eaten, the land that they've grown on. I mean, in this skein of yarn that I hope to knit into something is years of time and love and growth. And so I didn't want to spin it fast. I really wanted to sit and do it justice because it deserves that. And I am usually one to go really quickly, to rush to the final product. So it was nice to remember that as I was spinning this, the years that have gone into creating this one skein, because of all it takes to get this fleece to me. It was really nice to remember that as I was thinking about it, as I was spinning. And to try and remember that with everything that I do, all the time and love and attention and energy that comes with everything that we do. Not just human energy, but, you know, animal and land and all of that. So, yeah, I don't know what it's going to be, but it's special. And when I finished that, I did cast on, or spin on, however you say it, the next one I was telling you about. That is from Hobbledehoy, and this was that really beautiful shiny orange braid. And this is, let me see, this is merino, silk, and bamboo. And it ended up being 4.3 ounces and 448 yards. So this is fingering, maybe heavy fingering, and this is a very light fingering. I'll bring this closer so you can see it. It's a really beautiful orange with some yellows and cream and even a bit of purple in there. Let's see if I can find some of the purple. I know the light is a bit yellow right now just because of the clouds outside and sitting in my yellow wooden house. So I really love this too. I think it turned out beautifully. And I'm glad I finally spun it up. It's been sitting in my stash for many years because it was one of those where it's just so pretty I wanted to admire it. So I don't know what I'll do next. I have nothing on the wheel. I have nothing on the needles. I'll probably work on the masks that Kaya and I eco-printed a few yards of cotton so we could try and make some masks for her and her some of the kids at her school. They're going back 2 days a week, so we'll see how that goes. Her school has really good plans as far as how to engage the kids and have them still feel a part of a community while still keeping safe. So we'll see how that goes. If need be, we all go back to online schooling. I hope you guys are doing well right now. I hope you're staying healthy mentally as well as physically. And I will see you again sometime soon. Have a beautiful rest of your July. Bye.